Hello aspirants, I welcome you all to daily newspaper analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 24th of February 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we are going to discuss today. In this first article, we'll be discussing about what is UN Peacekeeping Force and how women from India is contributing to this particular force. And in the second article, we'll be discussing about a recent report released by an NGO, and it talks about the reservation of OBC. And in the third article, we'll be talking about the integration of telemedicine with UHI. So we'll be seeing in detail about that. And in the fourth article, we'll be discussing in detail about what is domestic violence and what are all the legal protection offered against domestic violence when it comes to women. So we'll be seeing all the articles from the prelims perspective. So without any delay, let us get into the article discussion. Now look at this article. The title reads, Bihar government to appoint 140 protection officers for women affected by domestic violence. So basically the article talks about domestic violence and the legal protection offered by our government to women against domestic violence. So let's start with what is the objective of PWDVA. PWDVA is nothing but an act enacted in 2005. It is expanded as Protection of Women Against Domestic Violence Act. So this act actually provides the legal protection to women facing domestic violence. So it provides all the civil remedies like giving them protection, giving them residence, as well as giving them monetary relief. In some cases, they even provide consultancy, or they will be providing or arranging for appointment with the advocates to sort out the particular issue. And they will be this all these help us to understand this PWDVA has moved beyond the criminal punishment. They have providing the moral assistance as well. Now moving on, we shall see about the domestic violence, how it is defined as domestic violence. So the first thing is physical abuse. It can be bodily harm, and the second thing is sexual abuse. Any kind of a degradation or forced sexual contact can be a ground for domestic violence. Thirdly, verbal or emotional abuse. So any kind of insult, any kind of threat or humiliation can be a definition for domestic violence. And the fourth important thing is economic abuse. So not providing any kind of resources or not providing property. So those kinds of emotional and economic abuse can be defined as the domestic violence. Moving on, we shall see who can seek protection. See, any woman who is going through domestic violence can seek protection. It can be a mother, a sister, a spouse, or even a living in partner. So it is applied to both married as well as non-married women, and it does not cover men. Remember this. So this particular act is exclusively for women. Now moving on, we shall see about key provisions of the legal remedies provided under Section 12. See, the first important thing is they will be providing a protection order under Section 18. So this will prevent further violence. So the basic thing is they will be providing proper shelter for them, and the shelter will be hidden. So when the detail is hidden, any particular harm or future harm will be prevented. Secondly, the residence order. Here the right to stay in shared household. Even after a particular dispute, if the particular person is willing to be staying in the particular household, then they will be providing this residence order, which is enforcing or mandating the right to stay in the shared household. Now, the third important thing is monetary relief. Here, financial support will be provided by the particular police station, and then the custody order, temporary child custody will be provided, and finally, a compensation order will also be provided. This will include an emotional as well as injury compensation. Now, moving on, we shall see about the role of protection officer. So, in the article itself, we have seen about the appointment of protection officer, right? So, there is a particular role called protection officer. They are the first person of witnessing that particular crime. So they are appointed by the government, especially the state government, and assisted. They will be assisting in filing the complaints and assessing the shelter and providing them legal aid. So the duty of the police and the service providers, if we talk about them, they will be informing the victim about their right, and they will be providing shelter and medical facilities, and they will be providing assistance. Even though being a very good spectacular scheme, this has certain implementation challenges. For example, there is a very lack of awareness among the rural economy, and when it comes to the number of persons, when it comes to protection officer, the ratio is very low. Even in the article, they have said that only 20% of the vacancy has been filled when it comes to Bihar state government. Third important thing is the justice is actually delayed. when it comes to the family matters. So that requires proper resolution. For that, any kind of grievance resolution mechanism can be brought in. And finally, there is a very big social stigma. Even after witnessing that particular violence, the person could not come out of the violence because of the social stigma, and they cannot move on, which is a very big challenge. And because of that social stigma, the reporting is very declining. When the reporting is very declining, there is a persistent or a long term domestic violence happening in the households. So these are all the implementation challenges. So having seen all that, we'll just look into a prelims question: which international convention played a key role in shaping India's protection of women from Domestic Violence Act 2005? So here correct answer for the question is option C, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, in short called as CDEDAW. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this article. A particular conference has been assigned this week. So the conference will be called as Enhancing the Role of Women in Peacekeeping, a Global South Experience. So this is organized by our country, and it will be held on February 24 to 25. So this is what the article is about. From the prelims perspective, we have to learn about both the conference as well as the women's contribution when it comes to UN peacekeeping. Let us see them one by one. So let's start with what is this Global South Conference is about. See, this particular conference is organized by our country, and nearly 50 countries will be participating in this particular conference. And the focus is on women in peacekeeping and their challenges. So the discussion will be going on, and the experts will be providing their opinion on this particular thing, which will lead to a pathway for resolution. And the organizers include Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Defense, and CUNPK. Now, moving on, we shall see about India's UN peacekeeping role. They have actually been a very major contributor. For example, nearly 5,384 personnel has been contributed for this peacekeeping aspect. So, when it comes to what is this peacekeeping means, United Nations, they have this particular force to control wherever the violence happens. So, for example, if any particular war is going to be break out, so in those places, the peacekeeping force will be there, preventing the violence from happening. So the personnels who contribute to this particular peacekeeping force will be provided by certain countries. And when it comes to India, we actually contribute a major chunk. For example, we contribute nearly 5,384 personnel. That is what is said here. When it comes to women, we have deployed nearly 153 women, and when we compare this with the numbers, it is very low, remember that. And we have participated on nearly 10 missions under UN until September 2024. India deployed its first all female peacekeeping unit in Liberia in 2007, remember that. And the CUNPK is nothing but the Center for Peacekeeping Force, UN Peacekeeping Force. So they provide the training standards for both the women as well as the men. Remember this. Now let us quickly go through the objectives of UN peacekeeping force. The first important thing is strengthening the rule of law in any particular region where the violence is happening. Secondly, maintaining peace and security. Thirdly, facilitating political processes. Fourthly, protecting civilians. And finally, disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration support will be provided by the UN peacekeeping force. Remember all these. So with these learned points, now I have a prelims question for you. Let me read out the question. Consider the following statements regarding UN peacekeeping. Here two statements are given. First statement says UN peacekeeping mission are established through a legally binding international treaty signed by all member states. Now the second statement says the first UN peacekeeping mission was deployed to monitor a ceasefire in the Middle East. So here the correct answer for the first question is option B 2 only. The first statement is actually incorrect. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this article. This article talks about a particular report. Let me read out the name of the report. Status of devolution to panchayats in states. So this particular report has highlighted that when it comes to Tamil Nadu, the representation of OBC, when we compare it with the percentage of reservation, it has not properly reflected. So this is what the entire article is talking about. Here you can take the points from the data point and you can use it in your mains answer. So with this, we shall revise about the key facts apart from this mentioned in the report one by one from the prelims perspective. So let's start with the OPC reservation in Tamil Nadu, especially in the rural local bodies. So overall OBC share is like in the rural local bodies only 12.39%. When we talk about the village panchayat, it is 12.16%, and district panchayat 17.25%. Women representation 57.3%, and panchayat union 15.42%. So you can make note of all these points, and you can mention this particular report name. The data is actually taken from the report, so you can use this in your mains answer. Moving on, we shall say about the importance of the report. See, this particular thing says that the OBC reservation in Tamil Nadu is approximately 50%, but disappropriately low OBC representation is there. So the reservation is very high, but the representation is very low. So this contradicts past higher OBC representation claims, and it raises the question on data accuracy. So here comes the reservation question on very big question on reservation policies and social justice implementation. So this is what the importance of the particular report. Now moving on, we shall see about the constitutional framework when it comes to OBC reservation, especially in the local bodies. We have Article 243 T. This mentions about urban local body reservations. We have Article 243D. This has Panchayat Raj reservation. Then we have OBC reservation, which is under state discretion. And we have 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment. This introduced the PRI, which is the Panchayat Raj institution, and ULB is urban local bodies. And we have SC/ST reservation. This is based on population, and it is based on the population mandate. And we have women's reservation. This is a very important thing. This is like 1/3 mandatorily women should be there. Like 33% of women should be in the local bodies. So these are the constitutional framework we have to remember when it comes to local bodies. Now moving on, we shall see about the Supreme Court ruling. See, the particular case you have to remember, the Vikas Gavalli case of 2021. This particular case capped the reservation to 50%, and it gave triple test for the OBC reservation. What is this triple test? The first important thing is we have to dedicate a particular commission for OBC political backwardness. Secondly, the empirical data on OBC representation should be there, and based on that, the total reservation should be decided. So, total reservation, including the SC, ST, and OBC, it should not be greater than 50%. So, this is what the triple test criteria that has been mentioned according to the Supreme Court ruling. So, based on this, the statute should restructure quota. For example, it has mentioned for the Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. So, having seen all that, here we have a prelims question for you. The 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment provide for firstly mandatory OBC reservation in Panchayat Raj institution and urban local bodies. Second statement says 1/3 reservation for women in PRI and ULBs. Third statement says mandatory SC/ST reservation in PRI and ULBs. So here the correct answer for the question is option B, 2 and 3, 1B. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this article. This article talks about the integration of e-Sanjeevani with the UHI. So we shall see about both the things separately, and we can see what are all the applications of integration of this particular thing. So we shall start with the e-Sanjeevani. See, e-Sanjeevani is nothing but a government-run telemedicine platform. So if you want to consult a particular doctor, you can just consult him over a phone call. This is what the particular overview of the scheme. So here there are two important modules, doctor to patient and HWC to specialist. HWC is nothing but the health and wellness center to specialist. So the key achievements when we talk about e-Sanjeevani, we have 318.6 million tele consultations, 3.4 million ABHA IDs created. ABHA is nothing but Ayushman Bharat health account, and we have created 4.5 million health records has been linked, and the benefit is we have free consultation and we have reduced the hospital visits. So this has reduced the out-of-pocket expenditure when it comes to medicine. Now moving on, we shall see about the unified health interface. See, this UHI is nothing but a digital platform under ABDM. ABDM is nothing but Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. So this particular thing has two important components, UHI, PHR, Personal Health Registry. So this UHI is nothing but enables the healthcare service interoperability. If you're asking how, all the doctors, they will be creating a particular ID in this UHI, and they will be providing consultation whenever a particular patient is asked for consulting. And this PHR has also has ID, like just like Aadhaar card, there is a particular ID you have to create, and any patient, their records, their medical health records will be placed under that ID, so that it will be easy for the doctors to access this PHR, and they can give consultation based on their medical history. So this two are the basic components of ABDM. So when we integrate this ABDM and this UHI along with the telemedicine, we will have wider access to telemedicine. The integration will reduce confusion, will bring in a lot of transparency and accountability, and it will bring in a lot of seamless doctor discovery as well as booking. And the digital health records, there will be no hard copies, only soft copies, and it will be unified. And finally, the reduced physical OPD dependency will be there. So these are all the important facts that you have to remember when you talk about the integration. Now I have a prelims question for you. Here three statements are given, and you have to find which of the statements are correct. The correct answer for the question is option A, 1 and 2 only. The third statement is actually incorrect. So with this, we came to the end of the news article discussion. If you like the video, hit like, do comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Now thank you so much for listening.